I'm Varun.
I'm just Paddy B, keeping you informed.
In today's video, we're going to be talking about Manchester United and Liverpool, the true rivalry of England. And with us today, we have just Paddy B and Dave, who's going to be our special guest for today. So we'll start with Dave. Dave, can you talk about the actual rivalry between these two juggernauts?
Rivalry between Liverpool and Manchester United originally started way back as regards the docks which were built. The Merseyside had their own docks, but because Manchester was losing a lot of trade, they decided to build a canal going from Merseyside to Salford. Now that caused a lot of trouble as regards to the people from Liverpool weren't happy with it because they were losing a lot of trade. So that's where the initial antagonistic side of the rivalry began, really. That was early this century, I think. And that progressed. They've never really been keen on each other, but when you start looking at the success of the football clubs from late 60s to present day, those two clubs, Liverpool and Manchester United, are the biggest two. Not only trophy-wise, which, as everybody knows, currently United have won the league 20 times. Liverpool have just managed to get to 19. European Cups, they're on 6, we're on 3. We've won more FA Cups than them. They've won more League Cups than us. And I think at the moment, the total, I think the Scousers are just edging it because of the success they had last year. But we don't include, unlike City, we do not include Charity Shields as a major trophy, which is one of Pep Guardiola's strange desperation for, I don't know. So that's really where the rivalry began, and it continues to this day. I'd say it's hatred as much as you have a mutual respect for them. You can't deny that over the years they've had some great players, great teams, and now they're by far the best team, I think. It pains me to say it. We're way behind. So yeah, going forward, it's always going to be, I think, the biggest game the league definitely has at the moment, and I can't see that changing.
Definitely. I mean, for me, I don't know really much about the actual history going back. I'm still a youngling on this, but I had a season ticket for a good 5 years, and I'll say that Liverpool game was always just that a little bit extra.
Yeah.
There was something to it. Like, far past any of the City games. Arsenal was close. There was a palpitation to an Arsenal game, but that feud for me seemed more about the managers rather than the clubs, because there was a point in time where Sir Alex Ferguson and Arsene Wenger just hated each other, but now they're friends. So I guess that's good. But
I think some rivalries come and go to an extent.
Yeah.
Like Arsenal again, they had a great team in the 90s under Arsene Wenger, and that for a while was a big rivalry.
Yeah,
because we were competing for the trophies.
I think that you've hit the nail on the head there. I think that Liverpool and United go past a rivalry. Yep. It's not just a rivalry. It's not hatred. I think is an extremely strong word, but there are people out there that do hate each other just because they're from either Liverpool or Manchester.
Yeah. And that extends beyond football.
So why would you consider Man United and Liverpool a proper rivalry in England?
I think geographically, it's always it's only just down the East Lancs Road. So it's not far at all. They call it a derby, but that's pushing it a bit. Call it Northwest Derby. But how far do you go with that? I think
it's more just the rivalry of the UK. Everyone considers that the main rivalry of England is...
Yeah, without a doubt. Or else, why would everybody watch it?
Yeah, and then you've also got Scotland, because obviously their main rivalry is Celtic
Rangers,
thing. But that rivalry in itself is exactly the same. That rivalry is more of a religious-based one rather than an actual football-based one. So it's the same thing with Liverpool and United. It goes past just football. I think it's a historical rivalry.
Edinburgh, for example, Hibernian Hearts.
Yeah.
That for them will be the biggest game of the season.
Mm-hmm.
Could say the same for nearly every city in England.
Yeah, so Aston Villa, Birmingham.
Yeah, Aston Villa, Birmingham.
Sheffield Wednesday, Sheffield United.
London's got various derbies.
Well,
I mean, yeah.
some they care
Ham,
about, some they don't.
Yeah, you live in Southampton. Their biggest game of the season will be Portsmouth.
Yeah.
Although they don't play them very often. But you take a team like Leeds, their biggest game will be Manchester United.
Yep.
Without any shadow of a doubt.
Yep.
But the first fixture that nearly everybody looks for, unless you're an avid supporter of another team, obviously.
Yeah.
Is Liverpool Man United.
Yep.
And it's the first one that Sky will jump on.
Yes.
To get that
Absolutely.
game.
I do feel like Sky will jump more on to City Liverpool now, but
they will.
even for revenue and money, it's still going to be United Liverpool. I actually have an affection for Liverpool. I don't mind the fans. I actually like the stadium. I like the team, especially. I absolutely adore Klopp. I'd love him to have been United's manager. Like when we were looking, I said him, and we just unfortunately ended up getting what we got.
Okay, so can you tell our viewers a little bit about the Evra versus Suarez incident that occurred?
So yeah, the Everett Suarez thing was extremely interesting because to me, who was a season ticket holder at that time, obviously when the incident happened, Suarez clearly did something wrong and was punished by the FA. Not enough, in my opinion, but because it was a he said, she said type incident, their hands were kind of tied. They could only go off the word of the people that were there. And unfortunately, it escalated from there for the fans. The game that was on after the actual incident that happened was extremely weird because the tension that was around in the stadium at that game was a little bit like you were just on a knife edge for the entire game. Yeah. Like it started with Suarez refusing to shake Everett's hand. And from there, it got 10 times worse.
Yeah.
Like to the point where me and my dad, who were at the game, literally decided to leave early and take ourselves off on the train as quickly as possible before any Liverpool fan left the ground. Mm. Thankfully, the policing that was there,
they always keep them in anyway, don't they?
Kept them in for a bit to allow people to kind of filter out.
It's like that old saying, cut the atmosphere with a knife.
Yep, definitely. That day was just...
for me, that game was always... The Liverpool Man United games have always been like that, but I think that reached another level, which I think has carried on, partly because Liverpool as a club have got more successful since then. We obviously don't like that. Yeah, they're rubbing our noses in it. That's
but
football.
To be fair, we rubbed their noses
of course
when we were doing things, especially when we won the Champions League in 2008.
Mm-hmm.
It was the first thing we did.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, because we were trying to catch them up.
Yeah,
they've always seemed to have the Midas touch with that one. 6 trophies to our 3.
Yeah,
but see, I haven't got any.